Good evening. It's an edition of The Collective. I know I haven't been here for a minute, but I'm trying to get back on the horse and ride. So we are talking sports because we've had a heck of a sports weekend this
Oh
weekend.
yeah,
And it's The Collective on WSME. I got Ant-Man from The Hustle Within right here, Captain Entertainment. How you doing?
I'm good. How's everything?
Hanging in there, hanging in
Oh
there.
yeah, oh yeah.
So, question. Did you think Monday Night Football was going to turn out the way that it turned out?
No, but that's the pros. And I
Yeah,
tell anybody on any given Sunday or Monday or Thursday,
yeah,
because these guys get paid to do this, you know, and they got guys that get paid behind them to do this, meaning
yeah.
the offensive coordinators. So they have to game plan against these teams. This is not high school football.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not Friday Night Lights.
No, this is not Friday Night Lights. So, the team you want to win might not win, or the team that you think can win may lose. So, all the things it's like that every Sunday.
Well,
Every
here's the
Thursday.
thing. Yeah, but if somebody would have said to you, Monday Night Football, Ravens and Colts, he would have probably said, and
Right.
okay, I could do with watching it. I could do without it. Maybe I'll have it on because it's background noise. Not necessarily unless I'm a Baltimore fan or an Indianapolis fan.
Right.
You know,
But
and
it's still football. That's the thing about it, it's football.
yeah,
If you're a football fan, you're gonna watch. You just gonna watch it. It doesn't matter who's playing. It can be, teams that you hate. You don't want to see. Period. But just because it's football Monday night, no, there's nothing else on television that you really want to watch, and it's the pastime sport. It's the number one sport right now.
well, yeah, it's the pastime, but you have to wonder. I think everybody was surprised by this game. I
Right.
think everybody was surprised by this game, primarily because, like you said, okay, it's football. If you're a football fan, you're going to watch it. But who knew that the Ravens were going to come back from 19 points? That's
Right.
almost unheard of.
Right.
And if you had been watching the game at the very beginning, you would have said, okay,
Yeah.
this is a stinker. I'm out. I'm going to watch something else.
Yeah, just like the Titans. Remember the game? It's been a couple amazing games over the course of the 5 weeks
Uh-huh.
in the NFL. You got the Titans when they played the Jets.
Right.
They went overtime. The Jets came back and won it. You had who was that? Just came down from that was the Baltimore and Indianapolis. They came down from 19 in the fourth quarter. Kansas City and Buffalo.
Right. And who knew that Kansas City would be 2-3 at this point?
Right.
It's almost like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your boy
Out.
is in recovery.
Yeah.
For how long, Ant?
4 to 8 weeks. Roughly.
Wow. Which is like now and which is crucial.
Yeah. But the thing about it, he's like a LeBron James of football. He put millions of dollars into his health. So he may be closer to the 4 weeks than the 8 weeks.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Okay. So you're saying that the medical team is really going to rally around him.
He has his own medical team. He has his own full medical doctor staff. So he just like LeBron James. He put money into his body, millions. So I can see him coming back within the next 4 weeks.
Okay. All right. So Lamar Jackson.
Right.
He's not 25 years old. Is the potential there, or is he a fluke?
He will be the highest paid quarterback probably by next year. He'll get his contract next year. He's actually, to me personally, he done jumped himself into the MVP conversation again this year.
But do you think he's going to be consistent? That's the question.
Hey, all I can do right now, like how these sports commentators and they go every week. One
Yeah.
week, oh, this person is the number one quarterback. This
Right,
person,
right,
oh
right,
my
right.
God, this is the best team in the NFL. We ain't never seen a team like. And then the following week they lose or they get beat. Oh my God, that's the worst team I ever. They lost to the worst team in the NFL. I have to take a step back. I have to apologize. You know, so I have to go by the naked eye test right now.
Okay.
Is Lamar Jackson, he's in that MVP conversation with Tom Brady.
And
Top
what
3.
about Dak?
Dak is in there. He's in the top 5. Yeah,
He's in that conversation, right? Who's your
he's
top
in that
5?
conversation. I mean, yeah, he's definitely in that conversation.
Who's your top 5?
The top 5, I would say Lamar. I want Tom Brady. I can't put him in order, but Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Dak, my guy from Buffalo, the quarterback from Buffalo. And who would be that 5th? Let me see. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. He's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron
I'm
Rodgers.
sorry. Oh, Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray.
So wait a minute. Are you taking Aaron Rodgers out and putting Murray in? Or
yeah, and I'll put Aaron Rodgers like number 6. They like right behind each other.
All right. So it's a tie thing.
Yeah.
And is that because Rodgers is older and Murray's a little bit younger, or
no, actually Murray's putting up better. Well,
he's putting up better numbers.
Yeah, his numbers are a little better when it comes to completions, and they undefeated.
Okay.
So that's what they look at, undefeated. Arizona's still right now undefeated.
Yeah, they're still undefeated. Yeah. They're the only team, right? The only team in the league
that's undefeated. Yep.
That's undefeated. But now, here's the question. Lamar Jackson is 24 years old.
Right.
He will be 25 in January 7th.
Mm-hmm.
If he stays healthy, do you see a Super Bowl in his future?
Maybe in the future, but they still don't have the right pieces. They still missing.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, they still right now. You look at the AFC, I can see 3 teams better than Baltimore right now in the AFC.
Oh yeah, well Dallas is number 1 because Dallas. I mean, technically, nobody's playing better football right now than Dallas.
But the only reason I don't give
in the AFC. In the AFC, let me be clear. In the AFC.
Yeah. So when I look at Dallas right now, Dallas' schedule has not been, they haven't played the hardest teams yet. They haven't got to the meat and potatoes of that schedule.
Okay.
Now, when they get to that and they start beating teams in that, then you could put them in that category. Like, okay, here you go. They're a Super Bowl contender. Right now, they are a Super Bowl contender because they're 4-1, right? 4-1.
Yeah, they're 4-1.
4-1. Okay, you 4-1. You're only in the 5th week, so you only lost 1 game. So, same thing with Arizona. Arizona's a Super Bowl pick contender right now.
Yeah.
Because they 5-0. Green Bay is another Super Bowl pick. But guess what? 17 weeks. You got extra 2 teams in the playoffs.
Right.
Anything can happen. It's one and done. That's the thing about the NFL. Week after week, somebody's better than that's the thing about NFL. You can't project who's gonna be at the end because
that's true.
All they have to do is prepare for 1 game. Once you prepare for that 1 game and beat that team that was projected to make the Super Bowl, game over. Right now, Tampa Bay favorite to get to the Super Bowl. Kansas City was the favorite. They don't got a defense.
Right.
Their defense is done. They can't cover me right now. If I was playing receiver right now, they couldn't cover me. I probably have about 300 yards on them. So I mean, yeah. So I don't think they can cover me right now. They can't touch the quarterback. They can't get any pass rush. I just don't see Kansas City. I see.
You don't see them. You don't see them making it past.
I don't see them making the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, they already. Think about it. They 3 games in the hole right now.
Yeah,
it's 5 teams better than the AFC right now. That Cleveland Browns. Forgot about the Cleveland Browns. They 4-1.
Yeah, that's true.
Forgot about Cleveland Browns. You got San Diego Chargers. You got to look at them 2. two
Yeah,
unexpected.
because they're playing real good football right now.
Buffalo
Chargers playing
Bills,
real good football.
Baltimore Ravens,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can still get beat. Even though Pittsburgh is not playing the best, but they got a good coach, and they can put some stuff together to beat you. On your week. We played them this week actually. Seattle, we play Pittsburgh this week.
But you know what? I can't say Robbins Pittsburgh's quarterback is
Ben, Big Ben.
Big Ben is not himself this season.
No.
It seems that time's catching up to him.
Oh yeah. He'll be done. I think he'll retire after this year.
Yeah, I think time's catching up to him because there's a lot of and there's a lot of simple things. If you watch him, there's a lot of simple things that let me put it this way, he's capable of doing, and he's tried to do them, and it's not working. And it's not necessarily his receivers like Baltimore. Baltimore's receivers can't catch a cold.
Right.
It took them almost the whole game to actually start catching that ball. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson could get it down. There's no question as to him getting it down the field. Yeah. He moved that team pretty quickly. But them receiving the ball, them catching the ball and holding on to it. So I think once they get in a rhythm, they're going to be okay. But Big Ben is just not there for him right now.
Yeah, and think about Miami. Look at Miami. Mm-hmm. Miami was projected to do very, very well this year. They were looking at Miami probably winning that division, and they in the division with New England. Even New England playing pretty decent. Right. They came back from like 19 down to beat the Texans.
Yeah, which was a good game.
That's the other game I was thinking about. That was a good game. They came back. That was a good game. They came back in the fourth quarter and scored 19 points to win the game.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there, this NFL season is going to be very, even Carolina Panthers. You got to look at the Carolina Panthers actually playing good this year.
Yeah.
And they got a great defense. And when they get the great White Hope back, hey, no telling where they might go.
Where's Cam Newton?
Cam Newton, man, he might be, I don't know. He might be over here somewhere with me hanging out somewhere. I don't know. Let me see. Cam, you in here? Nah, he ain't here. But yeah, Cam hanging. Cam chilling. But I guarantee you someone is going to call Cam soon. They're going to have no choice.
You think so?
They're going to have them. Because injuries is already stacking up. Russell Wilson was the most durable quarterback besides
hands down.
Mm-hmm. Hands down. He's out. For him to get injured and be out for 4 to 8 weeks, think about the other quarterbacks.
Right.
That's coming out that stay injured. Big Ben's going to get hurt again. He stays hurt. I hate to say it like that. I wish nothing bad upon anybody.
Right, but it's true. It's true. He stays hurt.
Injury. He's an injury quarterback.
He's injury prone. Yeah.
And then you got Miami quarterback Tua. God bless his soul. He stays injured all the time now, and he's only in his second year.
He takes a beating.
Yeah, he's only in his second year. Then you got, I can go down the line. These, even though Washington's saying, hey, they not looking to bring Cam over there, but okay. Eventually,
I think that's where he'll end up.
Eventually,
like a substitute.
And then think about the Giants. Look at the Giants.
I feel bad for Giants fans.
Yeah.
Because when the Giants had a chance in the draft to really get some top picks, they just went over it.
Even the Bengals
grades.
The Bengal quarterback right now, they hit him in the neck. They decapitated him. He should have, he could have ran and slid, but he stayed upright. They took his head off. He had to go to the emergency room because he had
right there. Yeah.
So my whole thing is, quarterbacks are not going to be upright this year. So Cam definitely would probably be getting the call within the next 2 to 3 weeks. He'll be on the team.
But it's going to be an interim role.
Right. I don't. Yeah,
he ain't going to be nobody's quarterback permanently.
Right, but the thing about it is, go in, get a couple $1 million, and he's a Hall of Famer.
You think so?
Oh yeah, definitely he's a Hall of Famer. First ballot. He's probably even the first ballot Hall of Famer. To think about it, he's an MVP. He's probably in the top 10 rushing quarterbacks of all time, right? And then he also threw over 30,000 yards. So I mean, yeah, he's in there. Yeah, so he's up there with numbers. His numbers are good, and he got an MVP. He made it to the Super Bowl. His resume is good. He's the first ballot. I mean, he might be a late first ballot, but he'll be a first ballot.
Yeah, I'm thinking late first ballot.
Yeah. He might get denied probably about 5 or 6 times, but I mean,
eventually he'll make it in.
Okay, he'll make it because that wouldn't be first ballot. That means he'll be second, third ballot. But he won't get everybody vote to get in for first ballot, but he'll make enough to make first ballot.
Okay.
The voters, the writers say, hey, 13-2. It'll be like 13 votes to 2, something like that, 14-2. Yeah, but he'll make it.
I hope so. I hope that nobody is giving up on him, because as we've talked about before, he's a heck of a talent. He just needs the right person to be patient with him and really kind of zone in to where he is, meet him on his level, and he's going to be that quarterback. But it's just going to take somebody to have that patience.
Right.
Sort of like Phil Jackson with Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? It's the same type of idea.
Right.
So I hope that somebody will pick him up. I hope somebody will pick him up. Mm-hmm. So I guess my bigger question is, do we see Green Bay going back? Do we see them Super Bowl bound?
Nah. Green Bay is just Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. When it comes to, you got to remember, once you get Cole in Green Bay, it's a wrap. But they don't take advantage of it. Every time they don't, because they never went home field. That's their issue. They always end up traveling. They might be the number 2 seed. When the one time they did get the number 1 seed, they got knocked out. That's when we beat them to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We beat them in Green Bay. So that's what I'm like, end of the day, they have to be able to take advantage of that home field advantage. And they don't. So if they cannot win home field advantage throughout the playoffs, they will not make it. They will not make it to the Super Bowl. Because they're not a good traveling team, period.
They never have been, though.
No, never been. Never been a good traveling team. Even though they win a few games on the road, they win a few games. They look good winning a few games on the road. But when it comes down to the playoffs, and you can look at the history. Green Bay never been that team to actually. They did win the Super Bowl. They beat the Saints to make it to the Super Bowl the year that they did win the Super Bowl, and that was on the road. But they also had a home game in that whole playoff. So the thing about it, they just don't gel together when they're on the road in the playoffs.
And I think Matt is going to make a difference in New England. I think he is. I think he's bringing that Alabama sensibility with him into the game.
He's going to be good. He's going to definitely be good next couple of years. He'll be good.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, he held his own with Tom Brady.
Right.
The Tampa Bay game and New England game, not only was it a good game, but he got great numbers.
Right.
He got really good numbers. And considering that it was Brady's so-called homecoming, most of the people were there to see Tom Brady, that kid held his own.
Right.
He wasn't rattled.
Right.
He wasn't rattled by the fact that, this was Brady's homecoming. And he did pretty good. I mean, 1917 ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Right. That was good. Good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah, that's another game. Like you said, when we talked about the games, that was another good game.
Yeah.
So you're gonna definitely have a lot of good games this year, and you're gonna have a lot of surprises too.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, because I think usually between weeks 4 and 6, you start to see the teams really gel, right?
Right.
You start to see them really come together. They're understanding the routes, defense understanding the routes.
Mm-hmm.
The offense is, making their way and trying to, know who can get what ball at what point and kind of run that. Who's better at getting, to the first down as opposed to who's better than, running that 30 yards. So between weeks 4 and 6, I think we're going to see a lot of surprises and definitely a lot of changes.
And then your teams really don't get into football shape until about week 6, 7.
Because now we're rounding that corner.
Yeah.
Playoffs,
8 weeks in. They don't really got to be in. If you got hurt in the early part of it, now you know what to expect to go into the second half.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a whole different ball game when you go into that second half after the breaks, after the bye. Because I think next week they start doing the bye weeks.
Right.
After this week, I think they go into bye weeks. So yeah,
and
it's gonna be a good year.
It is. I think it's gonna be a great year.
Yeah.
And I'm getting my behind spanked in fantasy football because I haven't had a chance to do any trades or, pay attention to my team. So I'm not even sure who I have.
My brother, fantasy football fanatic.
Really? I need to talk to him.
Yeah, he's a fantasy football fanatic. I mean, he was down here watching the Eagle game because he actually went to the game when he came down here this past weekend. He actually went to the Carolina Philly game, and at the same time he was checking on his phone his fantasy lineup on the other teams.
On the other teams.
That's what he do. He do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, he don't want to cover. He's the owner. I think he's a team owner or something in fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Is he a commissioner?
Yeah, I think he's a commissioner and
he has a team.
I'm not really sure. I don't really do fantasy, but I know he told me him and one of his friends are owners in
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely need some help because right now my record is not good.
Mm-hmm.
That is for sure. So let's squeeze a little baseball in here.
Okay.
Tampa Bay gonna take it?
Tampa Bay out. They out already.
Wait a minute.
They lost. They what's the name beat them?
Red Sox?
The Red Sox beat them. Yep. Game over.
Wait a minute. Last game I saw. Well, see, again, I'm not a baseball person.
That's the thing about baseball. They play every night.
Yeah.
So you might have seen when Tampa Bay won that game before.
Yes.
Boston was already up 2-1.
Okay.
And then they just finally won that last game about a couple nights ago. They won.
Okay.
But they're gonna be playing Houston now. I think Houston and Boston. But you remember Houston had that controversy. Now when they were the Spygate, whatever they were spying.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
When they were doing the signal gates, they were stealing all the signals.
Yeah.
Now they actually proven to people, we can make it without doing that. So if they make it to the World Series, it's gonna be that's gonna be a good storyline.
Yeah, I think that they have a chip on their shoulder, right? They got something to prove.
And I think what's the name still their coach? What's his name? The black coach for Houston. I can't think of his name right now, but I think they do have a black coach.
Okay. Was it who'd they get rid of in the scandal? That's what I don't remember.
I forgot the coach name for that too. But he got two. He got two over here. I think it was. And then remember they had just hired a coach, but he was part of the scandal. Right. As an assistant somewhere else.
Right.
And he came in to be the head coach and they got rid of him. So he never really got to coach the team. No, that was the Mets. He came from the Houston Astros. He came from Houston.
He came from Houston to go to the Mets, right?
Go to the Mets, and then they found out that he was part of the signal controversy. So, yeah, and that's what happened to him. He never even got to see a game. A game to play as as a baseball coach, manager.
Okay, we're gonna take a break real quick, and we're going to come back and talk about the controversy with the Raiders coach, John Gruden. This is The Collective right here on WSME Enlightenment. Back on WSME, talking sports with the one and only Ant-Man from the and Captain Entertainment. Thank you so much for being here.
You know how we do it.
The opportunity to talk sports.
Oh, yeah.
So the ugly became real, or as the little kids say, realer, with John Gruden. New York Times reporter was investigating one thing, which led to the emails of John Gruden, and he discovered that Gruden was saying some pretty unsavory things about different people.
Right.
And so he resigned.
Mm-hmm.
But and this is my take. I was having a conversation with a friend this afternoon. And he said, there's different ways that he could have done this, right?
Right.
Could have very easily said, well, I didn't grow up with believing that homosexuality was okay, or that socializing with Black people was okay. And this was a conversation that I was having personally with someone. And I've been
out of there.
Yeah. And anything along those lines might have gotten him, a little bit of grace.
But I think we still got him up out of there.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody like Gruden, who's possibly a Hall of Fame coach, right? Probably. Very well respected. Could he have saved himself, or did he want to save himself?
Okay. Now, my point of view on this, it wasn't no backpedaling that he could do to get out of it. Period. Because once the media, like what we doing now, attach to something and they go all out, every media platform.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do. Now, with that being said, and right now, if you flip a coin and if you talking about anything dealing with African Americans, homosexuals in any kind of way, it's not gonna work. And you're a public figure, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You're gonna get up out of there. They're gonna get you up out of there because it's, first of all, it's controversy, and both groups are fighting heavily right now, to restate the names and the cultures and the diversity of what it is, and what, it's just too much going on in society for a John Gruden to be able to survive, even though he had a 10-year, $10 million contract.
Yeah, and he's gonna get part of it.
Yeah, he's gonna get half. I mean, he get half of it. I mean, they don't care about that. They give him that money, but they want the organization is bigger than John Gruden. Yeah. Oakland Raiders, and from what I understand, the owner of Oakland Raiders is very fond of African Americans.
Okay.
He's very supportive of African American. From what I understand from a lot of people that was talking in sports, and his dad was too.
Okay.
So them two guys, and they were both owners. They fought for, because he fought for the league, so he had to fight for the African American right, because majority of the league was African American in the NFL.
Yeah.
So for him to come in as this owner's coach and say stuff about African Americans and other people in the world, he's causing the uproar. You're not going to be able to survive that. It's impossible. he would either had to resign or he would have got fired. So for him to save face, save a little face,
yeah,
and be able to save some of that money, he resigned. And I
with
guarantee
an
you,
apology.
yeah, I guarantee you, it was a backdoor conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Al Davis,
Yeah,
Al Davis Jr. I think it's Al Davis Jr. Well, Al Davis' son, I forgot his name.
yeah, yeah.
His son, I guarantee it was a backdoor deal where he said, "Hey, just resign. I don't want to fire you. Just resign so we can get this off our, just get this out of our market. We don't want to hear it. Oakland might do pretty good this year at the end of the day. They might end up being pretty good.
Las Vegas. They're the
Yeah.
Las Vegas
I'm
Raiders.
sorry, Las Vegas Raiders.
I know.
Yeah, Las Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry about that, LV, Las Vegas Raiders. And then plus they in one of the biggest Mecca gambling cities in the world.
In the world. Yeah.
So, and they're the face of that. They're the only football team out there. Besides, they're the only really it's them and the hockey team and the WNBA team, the Aces and the Knights. That's it. They want to bring professional baseball to Las Vegas, but hey, that's the thing. That's the stuff they're looking at. Like, okay, Oakland, you have to lead by. Las Vegas, you got to lead by example.
Yeah.
You can't jump in and be like, hey, have a coach that talking negatively about people, individuals, and then jump in and say, hey, Vegas, can we bring a baseball team in? No, we don't want to bring a baseball team into this.
Right.
Look at what Las Vegas Raiders are doing, the professional football team doing. They're allowing this coach to continue to coach and make money off degrading African Americans. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Well, I think, like you said, that's a very legitimate point, right, that they're kind of setting the professional tone in that region.
Right.
And so you want someone who is not seemingly a bigot, a racist.
Right.
But we all know, just as African Americans and as sports fans, there's a lot of racism in the NFL. There's a lot of racism in professional sports.
Period.
We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, if you feel this way, it's a conversation that you have in your house with your personal and very close friends who will not run out and tell the media the type of conversations that you've been having at your house, your family, and you don't put things in writing. If that's the way you feel, put it in writing. And some of those emails, I'm sure, were captured on a company server, which is public.
Of course. That's why they was able to bring out all the old ones.
So, you can't be somebody like a John Gruden and put things like that on paper.
Can't do it.
You just can't. It doesn't matter who you are at that point. It doesn't matter. And I think when you start to talk about racism in sports, we all know it goes well back to Jack Johnson, the boxer.
Right.
And as long as we are still struggling to have or to see quarterbacks of color, owners of color, it's only been in the past 5 to 7 years that we're beginning to see ownership with people of color and women, Black quarterbacks, Black talent recruiters. Let's face it, they ain't even look at HBCUs for quarterbacks.
Right.
And if you think about the Heisman, if you think about even just the recruiting class for the NFL this year, you didn't see anybody from any HBCUs.
No.
So it's there and it's prevalent. I think, like you said, the other thing between social media, between the NFL being on this whole in racism piece, I
Right.
mean, people got it on their helmets. They have it at the end of, the literal football field. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out and he starts talking about people being gay and using slurs, people, descriptions of people having big lips. You can't put that on paper. You can't. And you
Right.
can't really have that conversation on the phone that belongs to any organization because you don't know what's being recorded.
Right.
So it's one of those things where you've got to be a little bit more conscious. Some people would even say that's it's a white privilege thing.
Right.
That you can sit up, you can talk about people, you can email it, you can have these conversations and you really are above the fray.
Right.
But I guess you can say the NFL made him an example because they're saying we're not tolerating this. And anybody that chooses to do this is what's going to happen to you.
I mean, your head of your NFLPA is African American.
Mm-hmm.
89, almost 90% of the players in the NFL is
in the league. Yeah.
I mean, we at least 15 to 20% of front office now.
Right.
That need to get better, but the sport is dominated. Coaches. I mean, a lot of your coaches, position coaches, are African Americans. That's who relates to the player.
Right.
Because I mean, even though a lot of you guys don't get the head coaching jobs, but they relate to the players, and that's where you look at the NBA also, similar situation.
Right. Well, you think about the history of the Raiders. They had a black coach before anybody else for a very long time.
Right.
Art Monk, right? I think Monk was his last name. He was there for years.
Uh-huh.
He was there for years, like in the mid 70s and in the early 80s. So it's kind of ironic that it's a Raiders coach who's being fired for statements made.
When you think of the Raiders, you think of Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen.
Right.
I mean, that's who you think of really when you look at some of the faces, the running backs that went through Oakland. Mm-hmm. I know they Las Vegas right now, but it was Oakland back then.
So they were Oakland back then. Yeah.
They went through. They was the face of that organization.
Right.
They was the ones that the dog pound. I mean, not the dog pound. I'm sorry. The Raider Nation.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. The support was the Marcus Allens, the Bo Jacksons.
Right. Right.
That's when you sell your tickets.
Oakland is just about, the original home city is just about all black. It's about 80%.
80% black.
So
that bridge.
Right. Once you cross the bridge, welcome to Oakland.
Welcome to Oakland. So, and now you got Vegas. Vegas is the gambling town, and you got it's a melting culture pot. You can't be a face of a team, or you can't be the head of a team, and the whole city that you represent is a melting pot of culture.
Yeah.
You can't be talking about one diverse culture. Like, I'm just talking about African Americans. Can't do that. Can't get away with that. So you got to go. So he did right by resigning. And the best route that he went was to resign because he was trying to save money. He was trying to make sure that he get some more, because his actual contract consists of 10 years, $10 million a year. So $100 million. Plus, he owned a percentage of the team. He got a percentage of like a 5% in equity into the from the minority stake of the team.
Which I'm sure they're not going to take from him.
Which, you're right. You never know, because unless they come out publicly and say it,
right?
Nobody remembers that. They don't know that he has got equity into the team. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is this apology something where he's like, nah, I'm not going to change anything that I said. So I'm going to apologize. I'm going to say I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. And I'm still walking away with 60 million.
Right.
As opposed to someone who would have said, you know what? I made a mistake. I apologize, but I want my job. And I want to try to do better. But I guess because the NFL has zero tolerance,
he can go home.
He can go.
He can go. He can go home. He's $60 million deep in his pocket.
And he's got equity, like you said.
Equity in the team. He's not like, he might be done as coaching, being part of the NFL or any of these, but they'll bring him in as a private consultant.
Right.
Team will slide in and say, hey, pay him under the table. Hey, here's a private consultant deal. But he's worth $60 million right now. The Raiders just cut him a check.
He'll go somewhere. He could go Canada. He can go scout for the NFL under a different kind of banner. Maybe, go to Europe.
Yeah.
Look for players.
As a little private consultant. I'm telling you, if, what's his name? John Imus?
Yeah.
The guy that had Imus, the one that was talking about the Rutgers basketball team.
Imus.
When he did that same situation, when he talked about African-American women.
Right.
He was back on the radio, I think, 5 years later.
Yeah. But see, again, Imus was probably one of the first folks who did something where he took a percentage of the ads that came in. Mm-hmm. So back then, he had like 2%.
Right.
Well, and he's bringing in probably, which at the time was unheard of, over $1 million a year.
Right.
So quarterly, he's getting his 2%. So what's 2% of $1 million on top of $1 million salary? He's making for them a minimum of $1 million. He's getting paid probably 1.5 and add that 2% on. So if I leave, I can sit comfortable for 4 or 5 years until somebody says, hey, Imus, come over here and be a consultant. Because now I'm missing that 2%, right? The 2% is finally wearing out. So I'll come over here and I'll be a consultant. So that way I make up. So last but not least.
Okay.
Got NBA.
Okay.
Coming up.
What's your give me your predictions real quick.
And I'm a Lakers fan.
I know, but you see how they've been playing. I hope you've been seeing that. The jail you see it. I don't have to talk too much about it.
You don't have to talk too much about it. But
you've been seeing the preseason, how they've been
playing. Yes.
20 turnovers the first game. So, and then this game against the Warriors, it was worse than that.
It was terrible.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping they get it together. I do, because they didn't make the playoffs last year. They're gonna make them this year. I'm not gonna predict a win, but I'm gonna say that they'll definitely make the playoffs this year because folks are healthy. It's just a matter of getting back in rotation and really beginning to fill each other out. And
I think really realistically, it would be, even without Kyrie, I think Brooklyn still can come out the East. And even with a Laker team that's not gelling 100% at the preseason, I think they still can come out the East with the talent they have. And the West, I'm sorry. And we should be able to see Lakers against Brooklyn in the finals. Now,
I think Philly's gonna be a challenge.
But Philly's still they still dealing with that drama. Ben Simmons. They got to unload Ben Simmons, and they got to get a nice piece back for him.
Well, they did say that he was going to sign papers. So
okay. All right.
We will see. Last but not least, Kyrie Irving not getting a shot.
and that's like you said, it's because I mean it's a win-lose situation for him. Because I mean, anybody that us on the outside looking in, we're gonna be like, hey, if I'm making that type of money, I'll be popping needles. I'll be popping my own needle in my arm, getting that shot. But that's what you got to look at from him. His perspective, he already made a lot of money, and his values are different now. He's looking at it from a holistic standpoint. He's looking at like, hey, 10 years from now, if I get out, I retire from the NBA. Where's my, like, what, if I'm sitting here with my body breaking down due to something that I feel uncomfortable taking, how am I go back and look at the NBA and like, hey, well, the NBA told me to do it. They forced me. Mm-hmm. No, that's why he's looking at it like, hey, it's a choice behind the scenes he have to make and deal with. Either he want the money or he want to go home. That's all. That's the only choice he got. He want to go home, sit down, retire. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. He got a championship. Now he's definitely first because the NBA is different than NFL. First ballot is easy to make in NBA compared to NFL. So he's definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. He got a championship. He probably go down as one of the best dribblers of the basketball and handler of the basketball in the history of the NBA, if not the top. So yeah, but yeah, that's one of the things you got to look at from, hey, what can we, what from us on the outside looking in, we can't really judge it because, me personally, me being broke, if I had $40 million waiting on the table for me to pop that needle, I will probably do it. I'll tell the doctor, give me the needle, pop it in my arm myself. And I'm like, when do I come take the second shot?
Yeah, when do I get the booster, right?
Yeah, when I get the booster shot, I'm coming to get the second. But he looking at it like, hey, I already made over $200 million. I'm making $200 million off my shoes. I already made $200 million off the NBA. I done made a lot of money. So I'm looking at my health future. I'm looking at the future. I got kids now. If I can't be around doing what I got to do 10 years from now, based off stuff that he might not understand about the virus, he might still have questions about it. And he might not want it. Like, he might not want to really take it. I mean, and we can't judge him for that. We can't knock him for that because we're on the outside looking in. But me on the outside looking in right now, I'm looking at the money because I'm judging by the money.
There's no I in team, though.
Right.
So that's where we'll leave it, Ant-Man.
All right.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. This has been The Collective. My guest, my always sports partner, Ant-Man from The Hustle Within of Captain Entertainment. Thank you so much for being here. This has been The Collective talking sports on WSME Enlightenment Radio.
Good night.
See you soon.